I'm out, I need something to talk to me that might hit me. And it happens on TV because, every time they show a sporting event, they got the pharmaceutical companies back to back telling people how to fix the sickness on the same stuff that they sell them. So we get it.
Yep, we get it too, Chuck D. And that's why at KBLA Talk 1580, we don't black down.
Drop it! Our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be. Fight the power! Fight the power!
Shine, flies, no time to waste while it's passing you by. Shine, flies, be patient, 'cause good things happen in time. We gon' get it right, we gon' get it right, we gon' get it right. We gon' get it right.
Protests and anthems, yes, we chanting a movement of people. It's like we dancing to the ministry of. It's the energy of, in memory of them that we love. The trinity of the people, the peace, the power, the truth. We speak the powers even louder. We can say it blacker, we can say it prouder. A woman vice president that went to Howard. Now we talk helping black businesses, and our differences is magnificent. Bringing light to the point where the prisons is. I was told good life is where forgiveness lives. The ascension is to leave what's left behind and feed the seeds with deeds that bless the mind, caress the mind, and question justify. With you and God in time, my best align.
Shine, flies, no time to waste while it's passing you by. Shine, flies, be patient, 'cause good things happen in time. We gon' get it right, we gon' get it right. We gon' get it right. We gon' get it right.
How can I be a better father, son, a better grandson, honoring Fannie Lou's and the Fred Hamptons, the Harriets, the chariots that carry us to various areas that marry us to progress. Yeah, we the harvest, the lovely days and midnight marauders, even through charges and days of darkness. No, we in the hands of the greatest artists. I see it in the waters, I see it in our daughters. They could be bridges that know no borders. For so long, them folks try to ignore us. So we got the ballot boxes to vote for us. Peace to Stacey and the people of Georgia who galvanize so that we can move forward. Steps are ordered with the presence of mind. Everything's more beautiful in time.
Shine, flies, no time to waste while it's passing you by. Shine, flies, be patient, 'cause good things happen in time.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey, your host and White House correspondent. Not at the White House today, but right here in afternoon drive time with you here in LA. Thanksgiving week. How about that? You all ready for Thanksgiving? We're getting ready for Thanksgiving. We got family beginning to fly in, starting tonight. How many of y'all were at the Costco this weekend? We certainly were at the Costco this weekend with everybody in town, it felt like, but 'tis the season. Wherever you are and whoever you're spending the holiday with, we hope that it is blessed beyond measure. I'm in touch, and so you be in touch. Follow me on all the social media platforms at Dr. Nii-Quartelai. Just type in Dr. Nii-Q, DRNIIQ, and there we are, fresh for you to follow. Also, last but not least, subscribe to A More Perfect Union podcast. That way, you will never miss an episode. And speaking of what you shouldn't miss, I want to encourage you to get ready to celebrate the soul of the holidays in support of Altadena and Pasadena fire survivors. Monday, December 15th at 7 p.m. at the Bram Goldsmith Theater. Come on out and celebrate. It's going to be a joyful night of Motor City Soul, gospel, and holiday classics featuring an 18-piece band, all-star vocalists, and community choirs, all in support of the Black LA Relief and Recovery Fund. This event is being powered by KBLA Talk 1580 and our friends over at the Black Freedom Fund. And so again, mark your calendars for Monday, December 15th at 7 p.m. Come on over to celebrate the soul of the holidays in support of the Altadena and Pasadena fire survivors. And so more information on that in due time. But right now, it's time for you to decide the good, bad, and ugly headlines of the day. Kicking us off, speaking of the fires, this disabled mom survived the Eden fire. Now, the recovery is killing her. It's killing her. The LA Times is reporting that there's new research on the aftermath of the wildfires. It's found that what one expert called, quotes, a slow burning bureaucracy that leaves people with disabilities especially vulnerable. Jessica Newman, who suffers from a rare heart condition, is among those struggling to navigate the system a year after being displaced by the Eaton fire. Now, disabled Americans are often locked out of recovery programs and far less likely to ever return home after fires, according to a November 13th report from the University of Hawaii. And so, it's important that as we think about recovery efforts, that we are paying attention to the folks that have a tendency to fall between the cracks. And that includes our disabled friends, family, and neighbors. And so hopefully folks receive this report as a reminder to do our part to make sure that, again, folks don't fall between the cracks. And speaking of falling between the cracks, LA Times also reporting that a giant landlord has settled with California for colluding on rents in LA and elsewhere. Greystar, which manages dozens of apartment complexes in Southern California, has settled a lawsuit that alleges that the property giant and other landlords colluded to keep rents artificially high. The unusual actions is aimed at limiting rent increases in Southern California, where rents already are among the highest in the country. The national apartment landlord and manager was a defendant in a lawsuit filed in January by the U.S. Department of Justice that focuses on the software from RealPage that's used by many apartment operators to set rent prices for vacant units and renewal rates for existing tenants. Now, the lawsuit alleges that Greystar and other landlords were illegally using RealPage to share proprietary data so that they could align their prices and drive up rents. Greystar manages nearly 1 million apartments in the U.S., and it's one of the country's largest apartment managers. Just last week, Greystar agreed to stop using software offered by any company, including RealPage, that uses competitively sensitive information to align rent prices. California Attorney General Rob Bonta said as much. Greystar also agreed to cooperate in the ongoing prosecution of RealPage and other defendant landlords. And so if you were wondering, like, why is rent so high? Why is the rent so dang high? Well, for a number of folks that rent apartments from Greystar, based on these allegations, based on the terms of the settlement, it seems that this data system that they were using, this software that they were using, was helping to inflate the prices of rent. So when I saw the story, I thought, well, if this is possible with Greystar, what other apartment managers are doing the same thing, right? And so it's one thing to deliver a settlement, and shout out to California Attorney General Rob Bonta for helping his office helping to deliver the settlement. That's one thing, but do we need some legislation here in order to give people a break? I mean, we just had a series of elections across the country where it's clear that the majority of voters who are showing up this election cycle are saying affordability is a problem. Affordability is at crisis levels, and shouldn't we be doing everything we can to address the things that are keeping some of the essentials that we depend on unaffordable? Food and housing, electricity, for example. And so there's an example of something afoot. When we come forward, we'll be joined with my expert panel, Isaac Wilson, South Carolina Democratic strategist, and William Godwin, a former White House fellow. They're going to join me to talk a little bit more about the state of affordability and what people in office are doing about it. Spoiler alert, Trump is expected to unveil a proposal to address the Obamacare subsidies, but the question is that nearly enough? We're going to unpack that and so much more when we come forward. You're listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
This Thanksgiving at Total Wine & More, find bourbons and Cabernets that you adore. Our helpful guides are so friendly and nice. So many bottles to try at the lowest price. So gather with friends as you sit down to eat. Grateful for all who made Thanksgiving complete.
With curbside pickup and delivery available and the lowest prices for over 30 years, you'll always find what you love and love what you find. Only at Total Wine & More.
Drink responsibly, B21.
Small businesses are the heart of America. But you don't have to go it alone. As the nation's largest nonprofit resource of expert business mentoring, SCORE has helped millions of entrepreneurs build their businesses for free. Get the connections, education, and guidance you need with SCORE. We're ready to help. Find a mentor today at score.org.
All I need is one mic.
With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. We want to speak directly to our listeners in Altadena and all across Southern California. Recently, we invited Southern California Edison to join a town hall so fire survivors could ask questions and get clear information about the Altadena Eaton fire and this so-called settlement fund. Weeks before the event, the law firm originally connected to the program withdrew, and we provided SCE updated materials confirming those changes. But despite that, SCE later stated publicly and privately that they were pulling out of the town hall because plaintiffs' attorneys were participating. That was not accurate, and SCE knew that it was not accurate. But when shown documentation that disproved their claim, SCE ignored it and declined to correct the record. At KBLA Talk 1580, trust is not an option. It is the foundation of our work and witness. It is the promise that we make to you. And so we will not move forward with any partnership that misrepresents the facts or undermines the credibility that we have built in love and service to this beloved community. Our commitment remains with the good people of Altadena. We will continue providing independent, verified information to support your recovery without interference from any outside entity, including Southern California Edison, so you don't get burned twice. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. As always, we welcome your feedback.
Hit me! National News, The Consequence, informed opinion, and analysis beyond the headlines. You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. We'll be joined with Dr. Isaac Wilson in just a moment, but let me just sort of lay the groundwork here. Trump is expected to, there he is. Hey, Dr. Wilson.
What's going on?
Isaac Wilson here, the Democratic strategist representing the good people of South Carolina. He's also the former South Carolina Democratic Party chair. We'll be joined in a short while with William Godwin, former White House fellow. But while we have you, Isaac, welcome. Look, Trump is making a little bit of news here. I suspect that we should probably take it with a grain of salt. You know why? Because since 2015, Donald Trump has been talking about getting rid of Obamacare. That's 10 years. We're talking about eliminating Obamacare. He has gotten Republicans to sing from that same songbook, but they have fallen short in terms of delivering a plan. It's one thing to repeal, it's another thing to replace, but replace with what? It's unclear what they want to replace it with. Well, USA Today is now reporting that President Trump appears ready to propose not just concepts of a plan, but a policy framework to address healthcare costs that included extending subsidies in the Affordable Care Act to expire at the end of December. The White House is delaying the proposal amid resistance from congressional Republicans. That's what CNN and MS Now are reporting. An announcement has been expected as soon as today. The proposal, which would require approval from Congress, includes a 2-year extension of the expiring Affordable Care Act subsidies in exchange for new eligibility limits to enroll in Obamacare, according to Politico. Is the president putting a little more meat on this bone, or is this, the same, Charlie Brown deleted Peanut scene where he's just going to move the football and get left power?
This is another circus that Trump is trying to get his minions to go about with. Listen, here's the thing. Every time we hear Donald Trump fixing Obamacare, what it really means is that he wants to destabilize the system so it can collapse and pretty much put money in his pocket. Somehow, some way, that's always Trump's angle. Subsidies are really what keep the middle-class families afloat, really. So if he removes or weakens them, premiums go up, coverage goes down, and the working families pay the price yet again. So this isn't a policy solution. I don't think he has a plan. It's just political revenge against, a law with Obama's name on it. And he's still, we know he's still mad, upset, whatever with Obama, like we care. So I think this is another thing to get at Obama.
Talk to us about the politics of this heading into the 2026 election cycle. Look, the Republicans know that healthcare is not an issue that they're popular on. And they know going into the 2026 midterm elections that they cannot go into this election cycle empty-handed, not when affordability, seems to be a top issue for so many of our fellow Americans across the political spectrum. And so is this Donald Trump's attempt to give Republicans whose name will actually be on the ballot something to take to voters in their districts to make it appear as if they are taking this seriously and as if they do have a plan to help bring costs down related to healthcare?
Dr. Nee, I think you hit it straight on the head. I think Donald Trump saw that the voters in America wasn't on his side this election cycle. And so he has to do something in order to bring his party back into a positive light. And what better way than to talk about healthcare, right? When everybody thought that when you guys took it out of the bill, it wasn't going to be a part of Republican strategy. They left 40 million people. Well, 40 million people will be left out of healthcare. What better way than to get back in the good graces of the American people than to talk about healthcare and say that you're going to do something? And so the American people will start to, oh yeah, the Republican Party. And yet you're going to let them fall flat on their faces because you're not going to do anything about healthcare. It is all about the midterms. He knows that the Democrats are coming hard. We will take back the House. And we got a good chance of taking back the Senate, and he will be a lame duck president. And so he's fighting against that. So this is just another, tagline that Donald Trump wants to, speak to the American people as a deflection.
USA Today is reporting that the White House Deputy Chief of Staff, James Blair, last week, he said that the Trump administration plans to put forward a healthcare bill, saying that we're going to have the healthcare conversation. We're going to put some legislation forward. He said this just a few days ago at the Bloomberg Government Policy Breakfast. Talk to us about the politics of this for Democrats. Where is the political trap, if you will, for Democrats who have an advantage in terms of trust from people across the political spectrum when it comes to protecting, defending, expanding access to health care? If Trump and Republicans say, you know what, here's our plan, here's what we intend to do, how does that change the environment, the political environment heading into 2026?
Dr. King once told America to be true to what they put on paper, right? He
That's
once
right.
said that, right?
That's
be true
right.
to the Constitution, to what you said that you were going to do. And yet we have nothing in black and white from Donald Trump. So Democrats need to stick to the fire and talk about health care. Give us a plan. And once you have that plan, let's see what's in it. Don't pass a secret bill. Let us see what's in it. Let us see what the American people are going to receive. And then we can talk about anything else after that. But until he gets one on black and white paper, I'm not trusting anything Donald Trump says. And even when it's on black and white, I still want to see what's in the bill. Are these premiums going to be through the roof? Because you can put together a bill. Are the premiums going to be through the roof? Are they going to get something that they can truly afford and that's going to be truly health care that American people can be proud of? I don't know about that. So until he drafts that and we see that, Democrats need to stay on their necks.
And speaking of staying on their necks, I think people also need to stay on their P's and Q's, because it seems to me that there's a chance there might be a poison pill in the midst of this proposal that is forthcoming, according to White House officials. Isaac, we certainly remember a time when people were denied health care coverage because of pre-existing conditions. Remember that? And and this was one of the major achievements of the Affordable Care Act, of Obamacare, is that no longer in the United States could people be denied coverage for pre-existing conditions. Well, under the Trump administration, all we know on paper is that U.S. visas can be denied for obesity, cancer, and diabetes. That's according to Secretary of State Marco Rubio. The Washington Post reporting that the Trump administration has directed visa officers to consider obesity and other chronic health conditions such as heart disease, cancer, and diabetes as reasons to deny foreigners visas to the United States. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, he told U.S. consulates and embassies around the world about the change on November 6th. The move, it broadens current medical screenings beyond contagious diseases, and it gives visa officers new justifications to reject applicants in Trump's latest efforts to curb the flow of immigration. And so, should we look at these issues as mutually exclusive, or should we look at them as one and the same? It seems to me if the administration is saying, hey, we want to deny folks visas to this country because of their health condition, then it's not a far-fetched idea to see this administration attempt to try and deny folks access to healthcare coverage, also based on those conditions. No,
I think they're one and the same. This is one of the most un-American proposals that I've ever seen in my entire life. We're talking about denying visas based on medical conditions that people cannot literally control, conditions many Americans themselves live with. So it's discriminatory at its best. It's cruel, and it's nothing to do to improve our national security. So I don't know where that is. I don't understand that, because it has nothing to do with national security, and that's what we're talking about with visas. So if anything, it makes America look less compassionate, less welcoming, and less competitive to other nations, because they're going to look at it and say, well, come on to our country. Come where we are. We're not talking about how big you are or how small you are. This is... We're looking bad in America's eyes. And so for Donald Trump to say he wants to play a power thing, this is not looking like power, and you're not looking like the best country on earth.
Yeah, far from it. And it's also worth noting, it's like, look, it is not unusual for the United States or any country to deny folks visas, deny folks entries, if there's a suspicion that they may, be the carrier of a contagious disease. That's not unusual. What is unusual is to say that because somebody had cancer, because somebody had some sort of cardiovascular related disease, that you're not worthy of getting a visa to the United States.
But who's going to determine what obesity is? Is it going to be Donald Trump? Because many people think you might be obese, Donald Trump, or you're going to leave America. That'd be great for us if you leave. But who's going to determine what obesity really is? And that's going to be the question.
And look, that is what we are. That's what we are struggling with today. And do we really want a government that is able to decide on nilly-willy, who's in and who's out? There are a number of African countries, for example, that, are being denied the ability to seek refugee status here in the United States, with the rare exception of white South Africans.
Yeah,
that's not an accident.
It's unfortunate that we are even here talking about this. We are the greatest country we are the United States of America. We are a melting pot of a community in this country, and yet to be sitting here with a president who's talking about denying people on this basis. We're not any other country in on this planet, and so we shouldn't be selling ourselves out like that.
I mean, so how does this play down in South Carolina, where we know that Donald Trump won pretty handedly? How do these sorts of antics, these sorts of policy decisions, how are they playing out on the ground in South Carolina?
Well, for Republicans, they're playing right into his hand. I know retirees here in Horry County, which is where Myrtle Beach sits, which is one of our heavily Republican areas. They're not with him on the healthcare stuff that he's talking about and that he's doing. So Republicans aren't too happy about that. Those are where most people who own fixed incomes, they retire, they move to South Carolina to be next to beach. And so they don't have much money to be paying higher in premiums. So they're not with him on that. But when you talk about every other issue, there seems to be hook, line, and sinker when it comes to Donald Trump on those issues. Well, we're going to see if that changes anytime soon. When we come forward, we're going to be talking about one Senate Republican who says flat out, we can't afford these $2,000 tariff checks. That's right. A leading fiscal hawk in the Senate said the quiet part out loud. What this might mean for Republican and Democratic voters in 2026. We'll get Isaac's take on that and more when we come forward. You're listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
The audience is listening, thought-provoking, eye-opening, heart-rendering. This is where authentic voices meet powerful discussions on culture, community, and change. This is where Black voices matter. He's breaking boundaries, amplifying diverse perspectives, and tackling the issues that matter most to you. You're inside A More Perfect Union with Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. About 50 of the 300-plus children kidnapped from a Catholic school in Nigeria have escaped, and Daniel Atori, a spokesperson for the proprietor of St. Mary's School, says those students are being reunited with their families.
We count it as a sigh of relief for us because the number has reduced.
The remaining students and a dozen teachers are still missing, and it's unclear where they're being held. The acquittal of an officer who killed 21-year-old Takaya Young, a pregnant Black mother, is sparking outrage in Ohio. Protesters gathered outside the Franklin County Courthouse after Officer Connor Grubb was found not guilty in last week's shooting case. And Hampton University is making a major change in its football program, announcing that Trent Boykin is stepping down as head coach. Athletic director Anthony Henderson says the HBCU remains committed to strong leadership on and off the field. A national search is now underway for his replacement. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
In Agora Hills on the East 101 past Canaan Road as the three-vehicle collision is clearing from the slow lane. Up ahead, you have delays on the East 101 Ventura Freeway from Las Virgenes Road up to the North Hollywood Freeway split. Problems in Pasadena, Foothill Freeway, East 210 just beyond Lake Avenue. An accident involving a big rig and a car. It's over on the right shoulder, but the East 210, you're slow from the 134 to San Dimas Avenue. Watch for a stalled tanker truck in lanes on the 5 southbound at Las Feliz Boulevard.
Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice. Continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at unbound.org.
Is this the tackle? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
I'm a bad man. It took less than 24 hours for Cleveland Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski to make up his mind about rookie quarterback Shedeur Sanders. Stefanski told reporters Monday morning that Deion's son will be the Browns starting quarterback for their home game next Sunday against San Francisco. Stefanski refused to confirm Sanders' status yesterday after Sanders, in his first NFL start, led the Browns to a 24-10 win over the Raiders in Las Vegas. Sanders, the Browns' fifth-round pick, started the season as the team's fourth-string quarterback. Things are about to get interesting in Cleveland. Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford is emerging as the MVP favorite. Stafford had 3 touchdown passes Sunday against Tampa Bay, bringing his total to 30, tops in the NFL. The 37-year-old Stafford has thrown 27 consecutive touchdown passes without an interception. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Yeah, y'all, come on. Pick up the drums.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we fight the power every day.
Yeah,
gotta give us what we want. Gotta give us what we need. Hey.
I listen to KBLA and I love the commercials. I know what the commercials mean. I also, if I'm looking and trying to figure something out, I need something to talk to me that might hit me. And it happens on TV because, you know, every time they show a sporting event, they got the pharmaceutical companies back to back to back telling people how to fix the sickness on the same stuff that they sell them. So we get it.
Yep, we get it too, Chuck D. And that's why at KBLA Talk 1580, we don't black down.
Drop it. Our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be. Fight the power. Fight the power.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
It all comes down to this, folks.
Yep, the entire season is on the line.
But my has officially thrown in the towel. Sounds like you need Vicks VapoCool drops. They're max strength and vaporize sore throat pain.
Whoa! These VapoCool drops hit fast.
Speaking of fast, did you just see that play?
Yeah, he vaporized that ball.
That pun should have come with a penalty.
Vaporize sore throat pain with Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed.
This holiday season, KBLA Talk 1580 wishes you and yours joy, peace, and prosperity. As we celebrate with family and friends, we're already looking forward to an exciting first quarter, packed with must-attend events to kick off the new year just right. In January, join us for our inaugural Brotherhood Brunch, bringing together community leaders, change makers, and everyday people for inspiration and connection. February means it's time for our signature Black History Month luncheon, a powerful celebration you won't want to miss. And in March, Women's History Month, we're once again hosting our State of Black Women in Los Angeles Symposium and Luncheon, addressing the issues that matter most inside our community. From all of us at KBLA Talk 1580, happy holidays. Stay tuned for more details on these incredible upcoming events. KBLA Talk 1580, your voice, your community, your power.
Now back to building a more perfect union on KBLA Talk 1580.
To and streaming a more perfect union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey, and joining me is Dr. Isaac Wilson. He is a Democratic strategist and a former South Carolina Democratic Party chair. Also joining us now is William Godwin. He's a former White House fellow, and he's also a PhD student at the Howard University and former Gary City Council President, William Godwin. And so William will be with us momentarily. I think we have him with us now. William, are you there?
I am. Good evening. How are you doing?
Doing well.
Welcome, my good brother.
What did you say?
Excellent.
I said, welcome, my good brother. Welcome to the conversation.
I mean, look like you just walked off stage.
You know, technology.
That's all right. That's all right. So listen, before the break, I mentioned that thehill.com is reporting that Republican Senator Ron Johnson of Wisconsin, a leading fiscal hawk in the Senate, he says the country flat out can't afford President Trump's proposal to send out $2,000 tariff dividend checks to working class Americans to help them afford higher living expenses. He said specifically, quotes, "We can't afford it. I wish we were in a position to return the American public their money, but we're not." That's what he said to the folks over at Fox News. He went on to say that we, quote, have at least a $2 trillion deficit this year. He ain't with it. And so if he ain't with it, then chances are Republicans in the Senate are not with it. And so, Isaac, what exactly is Trump trying to get out of socializing this idea that he wants to send $2,000 dividend checks to Americans across the country, while leading Republican Senator Ron Johnson says, we ain't got it. Ain't gonna happen. We ain't got it.
Well, I'm gonna take your line and say the silent part out loud. And the silent part is that Donald Trump knows that there are people, some black folks and white folk, all colors in between, that when you give them money, it makes it seem like they've done something great for you. And many people forget that Joe Biden gave a stimulus check too. The only thing they talk about is Trump's stimulus check. And I think that's what it is. He's trying to get people riled up, deflect from what the real issues are, deflect from we have a horrible economy. You're doing horrible for our people. And the $2,000 just get the people hoo-ha and riling saying that, oh, he's giving us more money. And that's not really the thing. Listen, tariffs are taxes. Trump's plan is basically we'll tax everyday Americans more and hurt small businesses, raise prices, and then send you a check and hope you don't notice who caused the problem. So Ron Johnson has finally admitted the truth. We can't afford gimmicks that hurt our economy to create an illusion of helping people. And that's Donald Trump's gimmick of the illusion that he's a great businessman, an illusion that he's a great president, an illusion that everybody likes him. That is his gimmick.
Well, you know, it's not just Senator Ron Johnson, but apparently budget experts project that the inflow of new tariff revenue, it won't be enough. It will not be enough to cover the cost of doling out $2,000 checks, which could cost $600 billion per year, according to the Committee for the Responsible Federal Budget, a nonpartisan group that studies fiscal issues. William, while we have you, I want to ask you, your take on this. So Ron Johnson says we ain't got it. These budget experts say this new tariff revenue won't be enough. Where have I heard that before? This idea that the tariff revenue is not going to be enough to do all the things that President Trump has told his followers he's going to do. Looks like we lost William, but that question goes to you, Isaac.
This plays right to Donald Trump's MO of getting American people riled up. And he did this in his first term. It wasn't about helping the economy. It wasn't about any of that. He gave it so that people could like him, so that he could be reelected. We saw what happened on that front. Donald Trump is just playing to his base of people, and he's playing to people who like money and think that money rules all. So this is just a ruse, and it won't work. It's not going to work, and he has to try again and do something else.
William, did you want to weigh in on this? Weigh in on these Trump tariffs?
Yes, I think this is another example where the president has gotten ahead of his party, and I think it shows the fissures within the Republican Party, right? That there are those who are truly committed, as they say, to fiscal responsibility, and DOGE and all that stood for, and that runs counter to his populism. He's clearly thinking about votes and how to change the narrative, change the dynamic between now and next November. But it seems like he's running up to serious opposition within his own party.
Serious opposition indeed. Serious opposition indeed. I also want to talk a little bit more about just the 2026 midterms and the politics that are afoot that will really animate folks across the political spectrum as we head into the midterms. The Hill also reporting that Republican lawmakers are growing alarmed over signs of a 2026 election wipeout. That's right. GOP lawmakers are growing increasingly concerned. Republican senators say the off-year elections in New Jersey and Virginia and other parts of the country on November 4th, it serves as a wake-up call and a warning that President Trump and Republican leaders in Congress need to address voters' concerns about the slowing economy and persistently high prices. Republicans acknowledge that rising healthcare premiums, the issue that Democrats want to put front and center in the election year, also are major problems for the party. Talk is cheap. But Isaac, are we going to hear more talk than action from Republicans, along with a hope that people don't notice?
That's always going to be the case. They talk until the voters vote. And so they'll play this game, they'll dangle that carrot, and once they get them over the finish line, it's bump you again. It's I don't know what you're talking about. Republicans aren't worried because of Democrats. They're worried because of themselves. They're fractured. They're fighting internally. They're pushing policies that are out of step with everyday Americans. And you can't alienate women, alienate young voters and independents, and then be shocked when the numbers look bad and people cast you to the side and say, I'm going with another choice. That just cannot happen. We see Marjorie Taylor Greene changed her tune when she went back home to Georgia. Yeah, there's some black folk that live in Georgia that you got to represent. And so her constituents, they got on her. They got on real bad. And so she had to change her tune just a little bit and go against the person that she supported the most. So if they don't change their tune, they're going to find themselves back out, not in the majority, and let Democrats take that on.
William, I want to bring you into the conversation, on this. Okay, I get that Republican lawmakers are growing alarmed over signs of this 2026 election wipeout, but it seems to me that Democrats shouldn't get too cocky. It's not that people showed up in places like New Jersey and Virginia because they were in love with those Democratic candidates. They weren't being heard by Republicans, and Trump seemed to have his attention on everything else but making their lives better, making their lives more affordable. Talk to us about some of the trap doors that exist for Democrats heading into the 2026 election cycle if they make this election cycle a referendum on Trump.
I think it's more of the same, right? We have to say what we are for, right? I think it was great during the brief moment of courage where we were standing up against the Republicans for healthcare, but we eventually caved, right? But we have to say we're for healthcare, what that looks like, show how we're standing up for it. We have to show on many other fronts how we are going to help reduce the cost of living across the country. Why should we be given power to have control over the House of Representatives, to make gains in the Senate? I think that our issue is that we have to move beyond Trump. And that has been our crutch. And Trump will not always be around. And I think that may be what Marjorie Taylor Greene is picking up on. She's early maybe in carving out her own space, her own focus area, and maybe even her own constituency. She may run for president in 2028 and be able to draw an interesting crowd of folks because populism can swing. Many Obama voters voted for Donald J. Trump in 2016. And I think, as Mamdani even said in his recent meeting, there were many Trump voters in 2024 that voted for him. So populism, whether it's Bernie Sanders or whether it's Donald Trump, can swing.
When we come forward, Axios had a big scoop today on how Democrats are eyeing ranked choice voting for primaries. That's right. Democratic politicians and activists are quietly lobbying to upend the way that the party picks the presidential nominee by urging the use of ranked choice voting. want to get Isaac and William's take on this. We were just talking about Mamdani, and I think the Mamdani effect, it continues to reveal itself. Perhaps one of the biggest effects yet might be to upend the way the party itself chooses its presidential nominee. What's the upside and downside to this? We got the right ones to help us make it make sense. You're listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
Striving to make America a nation as good as its promise. This is A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Life in Los Angeles is vibrant, diverse, and full of opportunity. But sometimes a bad day in LA isn't just a bad day. Being treated differently or unfairly because of language, race, ethnicity, religion, or a medical condition can happen to anyone, and it is against the law. Have you faced unfair treatment when shopping, receiving services, or by an employer in the city? The Los Angeles Civil Rights Department enforces civil and human rights law to reduce private sector discrimination. We're here to work with you to find remedies, corrective actions, and help to connect you with needed resources. Don't let discrimination and unfair treatment go unchecked. Report your discrimination complaint at laisforeveryone.com. We want to hear your story. Visit laisforeveryone.com because your civil rights matter.
Cedars-Sinai is helping shape the future of Los Angeles, working alongside local communities and showing up with resources and healthcare programs that open doors for people across the city. Through career development programs like Next Gen Healthcare Pathways and partnerships with over 200 organizations like Black Men in White Coats, Cedars-Sinai is educating and empowering future healthcare leaders right here in LA. With access to education, mentorships, and hands-on experiences, we can build a healthier Los Angeles together. Cedars-Sinai, here for LA.
Celebrate the soul of the holidays and support Altadena and Pasadena. Join us on Monday, December 15th, 7 p.m. inside the Bram Goldsmith Theater at the Wallace in Beverly Hills for Soul of the Holidays, a joyful night of Motor City soul, gospel, and holiday classics featuring an 18-piece band, all-star vocalist, and community choirs, all in support of the Black LA Relief and Recovery Fund. This performance comes at a pivotal time for many in Altadena and Pasadena. This is their first holiday season since the devastating Altadena Eden Canyon fire, which destroyed homes and community spaces. While the physical losses are immense, the power of community remains, and your attendance directly supports recovery, resilience, and renewal. So, be sure to join us Monday, December 15th, 7 p.m. inside the Bram Goldsmith Theater at the Wallace in Beverly Hills for Soul of the Holidays, benefiting survivors of the Altadena Eden Canyon fire. For ticket information, just log on to tickets@thewallace.org. That's tickets@thewallace.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580 and the Black Freedom Fund.
We face tragedy, but we don't fall into despair. We continue our work to build a more perfect union.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey, and really delighted to be in conversation this hour with Dr. Isaac Wilson. He is a former South Carolina Democratic Party chair. He's a Democratic strategist, and also William Godwin, who's a former White House fellow. He's also a former Gary City Council president, and he's working on that PhD at the Howard University. I think that explains the glow. So listen, Axios is reporting that Democrats are eyeing ranked choice voting for primaries. Democratic National Committee Chair Ken Martin and other top party officials, they've met privately with advocates who are pushing for the voting method to be expanded for 2028's presidential primaries. There are multiple sources reporting this at this hour. Apparently, Representative Jamie Raskin of Maryland, Joe Biden's pollster, Celinda Lake, the nonprofit Fair Vote Action, and other Democrats, they pitched this idea in late October. Supporters of the change, which would allow voters to rank candidates in order of preference, told those at this DNC breakfast gathering in DC that it would strengthen and unite the party. The idea has also gotten mixed responses within the DNC. One DNC member saying, quotes, "We should follow the lead of the states. They know better." And so, look, Isaac Wilson, you're in one of those states. You're in South Carolina. Walk us through, if the DNC makes the change and if ranked choice voting prevails in the 2028 primary election cycle. Talk to us about how that might change the process in South Carolina, which just became the earliest primary state. It seems to me that it's going to make all of these primaries more competitive. But what are people saying in South Carolina, and what material difference would it make in the presidential primary election in South Carolina?
We tend to stick together here in South Carolina as a party. So I think when you rank them 1, 2, 3, 4, however many people they put in there, I think the winner that we want to win and the leader that needs to be on top of the ticket will be on top of the ticket. Listen, ranked choice voting, it gives power back to the people. It forces candidates to build a broader coalition, and it reduces the influence of extremes, right? It's transparent, it's modern, it encourages other people to come in and get involved in the party, and it cuts out the chaos. So everybody gets a choice to vote for their candidate, and you rank them, and then we go again. So if Democrats adopt it, you'll see a stronger field and maybe a healthier primary conversation.
William, what say you about this potential major change to the way that Democrats select their presidential nominee? Do you believe that switching to ranked choice voting could do what proponents are saying? Really support more party unity and really help to strengthen Democrats at a time where the moderates are getting the side eye. At least certainly the 8 senators who voted to end this government shutdown without any success on lowering the cost of healthcare premiums. A lot of people giving them the side eye. Might ranked choice voting be the way to sort of bring people together and overcome those divisions?
I think so. And I even think about Abby Phillips' new book, A Dream Deferred, Jesse Jackson, and the fight for Black political power. In his campaigns in 84 and 88, he pushed hard for reforms in the primary process so that those who had historically been excluded might have a better seat at the table, might have a bigger voice. And so I think often we know people end up dropping out of the race. Sometimes we only focus on who won, but not really looking at who's coming in a strong second and a strong third. And what that might reflect as you think about nationwide trends in terms of where the party is headed and where our people are headed, where our voters are headed. So I think it gives us far greater data to contend with. And I do think it's a more democratic process. And I think we have to go back to what we were doing in the 80s, obviously modified for the current era. But there's a lot that can be gained from even figures like Jesse Jackson, who I know has been recently a lot in the news with his health concerns. But his contribution to the party focused very heavily on proportionality, on representation, on inclusion. And those are, I think, key points, key values that we need to bring back to our conversation as we pick who we want to represent us.
So, Isaac, when it comes to South Carolina, if we make this choice to rank choice voting, how does that help or hurt? How does that help or hurt candidates of color? How does it help or hurt, Black candidates, not just in South Carolina, but other early primary states? Does it give, sort of unconventional candidates, non-traditional candidates of color? Does it give us a closer look, a longer look? Is it fundamentally a better thing for folks who are outside of the establishment or not?
I think it works for people of color and people that, like you said, outside of the establishment. It gives you a chance to see where you are and what voters that you are capturing. And so if we were to do that, and if we took our governor's race right now and we had 4 people there and Jermaine Johnson he's our only black candidate, we would be able to target to say, hey, you came in first, came in second or third. Hey, we got to do something, do some more strategizing to get you up to that first spot or to get you up to that second spot. It really gives us a keen eye as to what the voters here on the ground are saying about your candidate. And if you're a person of color, it lets you know, hey, people are looking at you. People want, more black people to run. Or if you're always at the bottom of the line, it's saying that, hey, they don't want people of color in this particular area, this particular region. So I think it gives up a leg up when we look at the data and we look at non-traditional candidates that will run as well, because we have to think about that.
So Isaac, just so our leaders, learners, and listeners are clear, as the former chair of the Democratic Party of South Carolina in Florence County, as a Democratic strategist, are you telling us here today that you fully endorse the DNC making the change to ranked choice voting?
I wouldn't say that I fully endorse. I am endorsing the idea for us to have those conversations and for you to bring it to the floor. And if the people, the delegates from these states are saying that that's what they want, then that's what we should do. And that's the kind of party that we are. We're a party that take big ideas and we put them to the test. And if the test says, hey, you pass with flying colors, we got to give the people what they want. So I endorse that idea. And if it happens to be a vote for it, I'm all for it.
Will the delegates in South Carolina, do you think that they'll support it?
I think they'll have a great big conversation about it. And like I said, they'll go with what the majority of the people think. And I think some people do like it. And there are some people that don't. So I think you just have to meet in the middle about what that looks like.
Will you be whipping votes for the people who support it or the people who don't support it?
I will be on the side of whatever the people in South Carolina say. I don't know. We haven't had that conversation yet. So I can't say which way I will be because it may be something that they know or have an idea about or be thinking about that I'm not. And I may be on the side of saying, no, we don't need it. But as of right now, I'm on the side of what the people want.
All right. We heard it here first from Dr. Isaac Wilson. When we come forward in our next hour, Mark Shaw, noted historian, former criminal defense attorney, and best-selling author, he joins us to talk about his new book on abuse of power. What a day to talk about that book, considering the news that came out related to James Comey and New York Attorney General Letitia James. You're listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Senator Mark Kelly is defending a video where he and other Democrats urged troops to ignore illegal orders from President Trump.
All we said is we reiterated what basically is the rule of law, that members of the military cannot follow illegal orders.